Hi there, my name's Vicky, Messy Stitcher. This is my attempt at a YouTube channel. I've been wanting to make a cross stitch YouTube channel for ages now. At first I kind of thought that everything was a little bit saturated because there are so many really good people out there already. I also thought I'm not really an expert with cross stitch, I wouldn't say that, and I'll come on to that a bit more later. But I decided why not, you know, it can't hurt. I've been really impressed by the cross stitch YouTube community since I kind of got into watching YouTube vlogs about cross stitching probably about 6 months ago. I'll probably forget people's names, but some of the kind of main ones I've been watching have been Mrs. Milky Bar Kid, Organic Granny I absolutely love, Carolyn Mazio, Sticky Stitch, Nordley. I'm sure there's a lot more. I watch hours and hours of them, so there's loads and loads of people that have really inspired me to do this, and I think it's because I realised how generous and how welcoming the kind of cross stitching community is online that I thought I'd give it a go. As I say, I don't know how to edit videos. I don't really know what I'm doing with stuff like that. It's all very new to me, so I'll probably be kind of making it up as I go along. I'm going to spread the word about my channel by kind of posting, probably annoying you, but posting the link onto people whose videos I've been watching for a long time, just to see if you'd be interested to watch mine. I don't expect a lot of people will follow this or like it or subscribe to it. It would be really, really lovely if you do, but I am aware that I don't, you know, I'm not a kind of expert YouTuber, so I'm sure it might be a little bit slow to get off the ground, but that's fine. I guess, well, why Messy Stitcher? Well, I've decided to call myself Messy Stitcher because I realised that, which is really, really lovely, there are lots of perfectionist cross stitchers out there, and I wouldn't count myself in that at all. Firstly, I'm not a one project at a time kind of person. I have loads of whips all the time. I've got UFOs that were started, using all the lingo already. I've got things that were started years and years and years ago that I still haven't got around to finishing. It takes me a very long time to finish my stuff. The messy part comes in because as much as I try, my stash is just usually just shoved in a bag. My aid or my even weave gets completely kind of folded up, creased, whatever, as I go along, and I kind of sort it all out at the end. I iron it and wash it at the end and frame it. I'm sure that that's equally not done as neatly as it could be, and as I'm sure you'll see when I start posting about my own stitching, the back of my stitching tends to be pretty messy, but that's, you know, I'm not worried about that. I don't particularly, you know, it's not hugely important to me because I don't kind of enter any sort of competitions with it. You know, I'm only really stitching either for very close friends or for myself, so I thought the kind of name was apt because I probably take a less professional approach to than some other people with my stitching. I think that's fine. I see it very much as a fun hobby. I don't take it that seriously, but I guess on the more serious side, it's been a really kind of trusty hobby that has really seen me through at times as well. So I'm sure I'll talk about lots of things on this channel. I guess I should probably say right now is that this isn't going to be one of those kind of tips and techniques kind of channels because I don't consider myself an expert. I'm quite a slow learner with things. You know, it takes me quite a while to go outside of my comfort zone with things. So people that I know look at cross stitch as I do, and because they're big, they kind of think, oh wow, they're really hard. But actually, what I've learned is that bigger cross stitching doesn't mean it's harder, it just takes longer to complete. So I have a preference for kind of bigger projects because I like the detail, and I tend to prefer the kind of less blocky and more detailed style in bigger designs. But things seem to take me a really long time compared to other people to finish. I don't know whether that's because I make lots of mistakes and I have to unpick stuff, or whether it's because I work full time, but I think a lot of other YouTubers do as well, so I've never really figured out why it takes me so long. It normally, I mean, my latest project, which I'll show you probably in the next video, it took me about 3-4 months, which is unheard of for me to get something done in that time. So in lots of different ways, I am not the ideal stitcher. What I'm going to do is I have a tendency, which I'm sure you figured out already, to ramble loads and loads about stuff. I don't really have an issue with that. I think, you know, it's nice to you know, some of the videos that I like watching are actually longer videos that people kind of go into their life more and go into the detail of things more, and that's the kind of thing I like. But I guess if you find it annoying or irritating in any way, obviously feel free to tune out when you get bored. I guess I'm going to try my hardest in the first few videos not to go off topic loads and loads, but if I do, I guess that's all part of the fun. We'll just see how it goes, really. So to avoid it being a really long video, because I think it could easily be something like an hour if I went into absolutely all my stash, my finishes, my stitching journey, everything all in one, I'm going to kind of take it in chunks. I don't have any real plans for how often I'm going to upload videos. I think it's going to be a case, especially at the moment as I'm buying a house and it's really stressful and really time consuming, I think it will be a case of kind of uploading videos as and when I can. So sometimes I'm sure I'll be uploading several a week, and other times it may be a few weeks, even a couple of months. So I think I've learned from previous things not to make too many promises about stuff like that. So what I'll probably do is split up a few different sections. This video is going to be a getting to know me, getting to know your stitcher video before I get onto the real stuff next time, which will be showing you my finishes, whips, UFOs, which will probably be quite a long video. And then another video that I'd like to do will be about my stitching journey, so how I got into cross stitch, how my taste has progressed and adapted and changed over the time. I'll probably upload them all together just so you have a kind of, I think when you're getting into a new channel it's nice to have a few different videos to watch, but it may well be a while until I'm able to post another one, so fingers crossed they're interesting enough for you. I probably look like a state because I was planning on trying to make myself look nice and wear makeup and stuff, and that didn't really happen, so I thought what the hell, just go for it. So I'm probably being really stupid here, but I'm still not 100% understanding what people mean when they say floss tube. I think it's just a collective name for all the YouTube videos out there that include some sort of cross-stitching stuff. And I think it's probably just a tag that people use in their videos so that other people can find them, and it's about the community, I think. But I always hear people use that term, and I'm not 100% sure what they really mean, but I guess it doesn't matter. One of the floss tube tags that seems to go around is getting to know your stitcher, and a few people like Organic Granny and D-Stitcher, who I've kind of recently watched videos on, have used this tag. So the next few minutes will just be me answering those questions, and hopefully I won't bore you to death with the answers. Okay, so I've got a few questions down. So the first one was, where do you live? So I live in Essex in the UK, in England. I've lived in Essex, which is a county, for those of you that live in America or Australia. I've lived in Essex all my life, really. Essex is quite a big county. I say big to people that live in America, who one state is bigger than our whole 4 countries put together, then it probably isn't big. But to us in England, a county like Essex is actually quite big. So there's quite... So I've kind of moved around different places. So for those of you that don't know the area very well, I live in the more London side of Essex. So I live in the bit that kind of starts to get into Greater London. There's another area that's kind of more in the country, nearer to Suffolk, and that's kind of the opposite end of the county that I live in. But I have lived and worked in most areas in Essex. Essex has a pretty bad reputation, deservedly so sometimes, but actually I'm quite proud to come from Essex. I think it's a really interesting county. I've never wanted to live anywhere else. My family are all here. I'm a very kind of family-oriented person, so I'm quite happy. I'll probably live here all my life. But having said that, I'm not kind of a sheltered person. I've travelled around a fair bit. I've got quite a diverse group of friends and things like that. So I'm not one of those people that's never ventured outside where they live. It's just that I happen to like where I live. So what do you do for a living? Well, I guess what I do for a living is I used to be if you count out all the jobs that I had before uni and before I had kind of what I'd call proper jobs, so I did my uni degree in sociology, which wasn't directly related to a particular job that I wanted to do, because at that point I didn't really know. But I basically through volunteering, I fell into drug and alcohol work, and I'm really happy that I did. That's been what I've done, that's been the field that I work in for the past 4 or 5 years. So the drug and alcohol field, the kind of criminal justice end of it, so when people kind of get arrested and are put on treatment orders, but also obviously lots of supportive work as well. So I used to be what's called a drug and alcohol key worker. It's not exactly the same as being a counsellor, but it's kind of similar in it's kind of got a more practical basis, so people don't kind of have a therapeutic relationship with you as such, but you still hold quite a lot of responsibility for their care, and for kind of getting them back and kind of achieving recovery. So for a few years I worked as a key worker, and then after that I moved on to become, I kind of moved into the head office of the charity that I work for, and I now work as a learning and development officer. So my main thing now is doing training, anything to do with people's learning and development really, as you might think. So I still, I miss having as much contact with service users. It's something that's always going to be kind of very important to me. But I get to have contact with service users in other ways, when I do training with them and stuff. So I'll probably talk a bit more about my job and the kind of work that I'm involved in other videos. I don't really want to go into the kind of specific details of exactly where I work and exactly my work circumstances, but there's quite a lot of interesting stuff to say about the field of work that I do. So maybe I'll give you a few videos about stuff like that, as well as cross stitch. I'm trying to read my own writing. Do you have any children? No, I don't have any children. I have a boyfriend. We live together. We're actually buying a house at the moment. We've been together for about 6.5, 7 years, so quite a long time. We're just in the process of buying a house at the moment, which seems like it's taking forever and is really stressful, but we'll get there eventually. So that's us. So at the moment we live with his parents while we were trying to save for a house, and we've just obviously got to the point where we can start buying and looking around, and we found somewhere, so that's just coming to an end, and we're just getting all of our stuff together. You'll probably notice that my room looks quite messy. I don't know how much you can see in the background, but it looks quite messy, but because it's, we've just got stuff everywhere and we've only got 2 rooms to really work with, so hopefully future videos will be in our nice sort of bigger house where we have more space. Do you have any pets? Yes, we have. It's quite pathetic really, I guess, but we have a pet hamster called Arwell. Everyone's like, what the hell is Arwell? Arwell is a Welsh name. I have some Welsh family. It wasn't really that thought out. We first got him, we thought he was a girl. He was called Gwendolyn, and then I needed a boy name, and my friend came round and we chose a random Welsh name off a website, so his name is Arwell. I'll probably try and get him in a video at some point. He doesn't really like being handled that much, so I can't kind of sit here and kind of hold him up to the camera, but I'm sure you'll see him at some point. We'd like to get a dog, but we don't know enough about dogs, and we also both work full time, so it would be quite difficult for us to actually commit to kind of doing things like taking them on long walks and stuff like that. So for the moment, just a rodent. Arwell's I think he's coming up for about a year old, so he's probably half through his life now. So that's the only pet we have, but it suits us at the moment. Your favourite movie? So I have lots of favourite movies, and I've never really been able to narrow it down to one, but if I did have to choose, it's a Robin Williams film called What Dreams May Come, and it's quite a depressing film actually, but it's all about how the concept of what heaven and hell is, what it is for different people, and it's all centred around him trying to journey across heaven into hell to save his wife, who's gone to hell because she was a suicide. Sounds very morbid, and it actually is quite depressing, but I have a tendency to like really depressing stuff, so that's me. Robin Williams, I thought he was a really, really good actor, and I find it really, really sad that he's no longer with us and everything that happened there. So I always think he's very, very talented, favourite actor for a long time, and that's the film that I think he did kind of his best work in. So that's usually the one at the top of my mind. Sorry guys, coming to the end, I know I am rambling a lot. So TV show, I don't have one favourite TV show. I have quite a wide range of stuff. I used to collect box sets like mad. I've sort of had a thing about kind of getting into a TV series a few years later than everybody else, and then buying all the box sets really cheap from HMV. And kind of binging on them, but I kind of haven't had quite as much money to do stuff like that lately, but I like Sex and the City, Dawson's Creek, OC, One Tree Hill, Desperate Housewives, all those, Sex and the City, I don't know if I said that, all those kind of teenage kind of dramas. I've got into Game of Thrones recently, but I've only watched the first series. I like things like Law and Order Special Victims Unit, so kind of crime series. Trying to think what else. I just have those. I like my sense of humour is things like The Office and Royal Family, things like that. So actually quite a lot of kind of diverse stuff really, and I've probably forgotten things. Your favourite music? So my favourite music kind of, again, it's a little bit varied. So I listen to anything from like 80s cheesy power ballads on Magic FM to industrial rock music like Nine Inch Nails. I wouldn't say I have a really alternative music taste. I kind of used to, I guess, when I was a bit younger. I think I don't like as new music just as much as stuff that I kind of seem to hark back to stuff I listened to when I was a teenager, but I guess a lot of kind of angry female feminist music like Alanis Morissette, Tori Amos. Alanis Morissette is my absolute all-time favourite artist, so I love stuff that she does. I like Lana Del Rey, Ellie Goulding, Paloma Faith. So female vocalists really. It's quite a broad, vague description, but I also like hip-hop, R&B, rap as well, which I guess you wouldn't expect, but I do. Cross-stitch and rap actually have been known to merge together at times. I've seen that on a bit of Etsy stuff. And finally, one word that describes you. Well, I guess it's really hard to describe yourself because you don't know how other people perceive you, but I guess I would like to think, if it was going to be a positive word, that it would be kind. Obviously I have my moments like anybody else, but I'd like to think that I'm a kind person. I try to be. I try to think. I think about other people a lot. I empathise with other people a lot, and I think I'm quite considerate. I find it hard sometimes in certain situations, but I've always tried and see things from the other person's point of view, even if it's really far away from my worldview. But that doesn't stop me having really strong opinions about things and getting on my soapbox at times as well. So. Okay, well, I'm going to leave it there because I think I can see that we're coming up to the 20-minute mark, and I think that's probably more of me than anybody can take in one section of time. So I'll leave it there, but my next video is going to be about whips, UFOs, finishes. It's going to be quite long. Wouldn't be surprised if it's about 45 minutes or something like that. So that will either be great news or bad news, depending on how interesting you found this video. So obviously if you did want to like, subscribe, comment, please feel free. I'm happy to answer questions. If there's anything that you'd like me to talk about in relation to stitching or in relation to myself, feel free to ask me. I don't have kind of a set thing in my mind of this absolutely always has to be a cross-stitch channel, and I can never talk about anything else. So because there's a few other topics I've thought about kind of doing posts about as well. So if you're interested to know something about me, 9 questions out of 10 I'm happy to answer. So just give me a comment and I'll do my best. Apologies for the lack of editing and probably the bad sound and picture quality. I've had to do this on Windows Movie Maker, which isn't the most sophisticated editing software ever, but hopefully it's okay. So I'll sign off for now, but I hope you enjoyed my video. Thanks for watching and happy stitching. Bye.